It's been a busy week for Tesla. Grok AI can now do more inside your Tesla car. Robotaxis testing with no one inside. The biggest lidar company just went bankrupt. Ford waved the white flag, took a $19.5 billion hit, and is backing away from EVs. So the question for investors, was this the week of the big breakthroughs, or are these just small wins? We've got the bulls here with us today. We got the Power Bull, the Queen, Tesla, Boomer, Mama, Alexandra Merz. We got the Rational, Mr. Incredible, the Executive, Jeff Lutz, and the Golden Bull, the Thinker, an astronaut in his previous life, Larry Goldberg. Welcome, everybody.
Hi, Herbert.
Hey. All right. First thing first, we're going to talk about all the biggest news. Okay, I just went through 4 of them right now. There's even more. And so let's get started with that. Alexandra, what do you think of those 4 was the biggest news that I just said, right? There's lidar company going bankrupt, Ford, $19.5 billion hit, no longer creating a Lightning, Robotaxis, no one inside, yet still testing, and Grok AI. The company and the product. I don't look at the quarterly stock movement.
A very realistic bull, questioning certain decisions.
The rational bull. We enjoy listening to bears.
We're looking for the red flags. You're supposed to react.
Yeah, we only earned 50 cents a share the last quarter. I mean, come on, guys.
I'm glad you're admitting they're yet still testing. Actually, the biggest news was that I paid you much too early, $180. But that is obviously linked to the driverless robotaxi operations in Austin for two cars. So let's resume where we are, because I think that is the biggest news. So they started with one, and then in the same day as we saw a second one, car that has no monitor anymore in the car, driving around Austin, not taking clients yet, not included into the taxis that can be called by the app, but testing. Now, my legal advice, which is about 100 followers on X, have said I paid you much too early on the bet that we did in a space where I said these operations, now the thing is I didn't obviously define it rightly, would start in the new year, because then the contracts of the drivers go out, insurance may be different or whatever. And Elon had said 3 weeks, not 2 weeks for once, and 3 weeks brought us to the first week of January. Yeah. And once they bring those 2 cars, and generous like I am, and just the good loser I am, I paid you straight away the money.
Yeah.
Wait, so are we saying that Herbert actually could potentially owe you money because he could actually lose the bet if there's not a paid fare?
Wait. There we are.
It was recorded. The bet was recorded, so we can listen into it. And what we said was just one car that is no one inside the car. So we'll replay it. We'll listen to it. Maybe you're right, but you're right. So it's still the biggest news, Alexandra, even though it really just testing, even though that they had a lead car and a follow car, even though it was just 2, maybe by the time this publishes tomorrow morning, maybe there's going to be more.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff has explained to us over and over again how good they are at taking micro steps in the right direction, right? And how smart they are collecting more data and making sure before they go to the next major step that they have, covered all their scenarios. So yes, for me, this is still the biggest news of the week.
Okay.
And I think this is what brought us to the all-time high, actually. I'm still convinced that is the reason.
It jumped a little bit, yeah. So Jeff, I'd be disappointed if you said that Ford taking a $19.5 billion hit, backing away from making electric vehicles is not the bigger news than Robotaxis testing, Grok AI being able to do navigation, and lidar company going out of bankrupt.
Well, I think the Tesla news is actually the biggest, because it's the future of transportation. So it's pointing us in that direction, because that car that had nobody inside of it costs about $33,000 to make. And they can make them every 30 seconds or so in terms of a click rate coming off the line. And they have a truly scalable solution. They're actually automating the management process of the fleet. That's part of what's happening here, part of what's happening in the background. It's not a sexy thing. So Tesla's acting wholly appropriately. All these folks on X or online are saying, why don't they do this? Or why aren't there hundreds of cars? That's not how you roll out a safety critical product, especially when you have the kind of visibility and name recognition of Tesla and its CEO, and just how Tesla is. They do things as it relates to safety. They do things the right way. And I think what we're going to find is when this is at scale, there's going to be less people that are seriously injured or killed in this country and every country that has this. So I think it is the biggest news. And the Grok integration is basically eventual super intelligence that's now going to be following you into your vehicle. And that's not the biggest thing, because you quite frankly could have had that on your phone. You have Grok access on your phone right now. What is the big thing is, what does Grok know when you're in the vehicle, and how can it help you have a more productive ride? Or how could it make you more aware of services or products in your area? And who knows what that unlocks from both an experience perspective and a money perspective. So I think those are the two biggest stories.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have used it yesterday. I had to go to LA yesterday. I was not as impressed as I'd hoped for. Clearly, I got in the car, I told him I have to go to that address in Westlake Village, blah, 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 all good. Then halfway there, I thought, oh, it would be great if I could get some Wetzel's pretzels, right? That's my big problem in my life, Wetzel's pretzels. It is, and I should not. So the first question was, when does it open? So I go to Grok and say, when does the Wetzel pretzel in Camarillo open? And he tells me 10 o'clock. I'm all happy because I think, oh, great, it's 10 o'clock, I can go there. I said, okay, please add the stop that it is at 11, that I go there. It says, oh, there are 3 of them. Which one do you want? I say, I want this one. All good. Then it shows actually in the written that it opens at 11. So I go back to Grok. I said, Grok, you told me it's opening at 10. I can't wait for 11. Is it now 10 or is it 11? Oh, no, you're right. It's 11. I apologize. I'm sure you apologize. I said, okay, take it back and put me back the original address. Couldn't do it. So I was stuck there with those 3 Wetzel's pretzels addresses. I had to completely cancel the whole navigation, go back into the initial problem. So it's still sloppy. Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, you have to start somewhere.
I played it with last night too, and I had a couple bugs just like that, very similar. But what blew me away was we were on the HOV lane, and you know how there's that even new feature. And I just said, Grok is always on at this point, right? Because I don't turn it off after you initiate it. And I said, actually, I don't want to be on the HOV lane. Get me out of here. Okay. And it got out. I was like, this is great. It's like I'm talking to a chauffeur. And then there's a guy that showed me his issues. He was using Grok and he was telling it, take me to Walmart. And then after about 2 minutes of driving, it's somehow just a bug. It will lose the destination of Walmart. And he'll go, hey, why did you lose the destination? Okay, I'll put it back. Did that 3 times. But then there was one time that the turn signal was on. And he goes to the Grok, your turn signal is on. Can you just turn it off? And it turned it off. Like, that's the stuff that's like, what?
Yeah, it's just the beginning. It's, start slow, classic Tesla way. But I mean, it's a very exciting opportunity. It really is. I mean, the opportunity to really completely control the car from the back seat, with or without a steering wheel, it's just magical. So once we have Grok well implemented and FSD now without supervision, then the back seat becomes a real opportunity, a real seat for us, for the main driver, and then it changes everything in the design of the car. I mean, I'm not even talking about, Cybercab now. I'm talking about all cars. It changes how you design the car. You don't have to have 4 seats, the way they are right now. You can have seats facing each other.
How do you wake up Grok if you don't do it with the finger? Can you wake it up with the voice?
Not yet.
Well, not right now, but of course, all you have to do is, hey, Grok, and it should wake up. That's all that it really needs. So, I mean, it will be so magical.
So Larry asked the question, what's your answer? Which of the 4 news is the biggest one for you?
Oh, I think the Robotaxi, the car driving without a driver, I think there's no doubt about it. I mean, there was instantaneous, and Alexandra said it correctly, instantaneous reaction in the stock price. And there was somebody I was debating with who said, no, it's not going to move the stock price. I said, wow, it's going to move the stock price big time. And within hours, the price was already up by $5, $10, $15 and just took off from there on. What was interesting was the reaction and the counter reaction. It's really interesting, this cycle of pricing. It's such a dangerous game to play, options with this share. It's amazing. Some people seem to succeed, or at least they say they succeed. I have no idea how.
Okay. Jeff, I can't let you go. Ford, look what they did. They took a $19.5 billion hit on their EV business. And then they say that we're still in EVs, but it's like a small number of models now. And then they took the Ford F-150 Lightning and turned that into what they call EREVs, which is extended range electric vehicles. Basically attach a combustion engine to it, the gas engine to power the battery. Basically, they waved away, and they're going to go, these are hybrids, and they're going to do more hybrids, everything hybrid. Wow. Tell us is that a big deal? What's going on?
Yeah, it's fascinating, the reaction to this. First off, there's this reaction of people that want to jump in front of a bullet for Ford and Ford's leadership. I actually think this is a serious leadership issue when you write down that amount of money and you've been in production for almost 4 years and you have the kind of annual EBIT losses that you have, and immediately it just turns into this attack from people of, well, Tesla this and Cybertruck that, and just you have to break down all. And I've been responding to some of these. You have to break all this commentary down. Like Ford had the same access to subsidies and the same access. In fact, Ford had more access to grants and loans in the last administration. They got $9.68 billion for battery manufacturing as a very low interest loan with great terms from the government. So we'll have to see how all of this unwinds. But to say that Tesla had access to something that Ford didn't is absolutely wrong. And I think what this means it's just interesting. What Ford and some of these other automakers have revealed is that they're basically just swaying in the wind relative to what political administration comes into office. Oh, you're pro EV? Guess what? We're doing all this stuff. And we need some loans, we need some grants, and we're doing all these things. Let's have a summit at the White House. We're going. We don't have an operational plan of how to make a product profitably, but we're doing it. Okay. And then the next administration comes in and says, well, you know what? I'm not so much about, it's student body left. Customers don't want this stuff anymore. Well, no. Customers want value per dollar. They want a great product at a great price. They don't want a Cadillac Lyriq at $70,000. They don't want a Ford F-150 if some of the features that have to be turned off and on are like heat in the seats and things like that in the front. So it's interesting how this was packaged up into we're doing what customers want, when in effect that like there's human beings in Europe and there's human beings in China, and we have a 25% or so adoption rate in growing in Europe and a 50+% adoption rate in China. Somebody tell me why the US should or could be at single digits of adoption in EV. It doesn't pass the common sense test. So anyway, I find the reactions interesting. I want to understand the accounting. Where's the money going? What's happening, especially all the government loans and all the money behind that. And then quite frankly, I don't think the market, maybe part of this reaction to Tesla, quite frankly, is all these OEMs ceding volume to Tesla. To think that this volume goes away, I don't actually think that that's wholly true. And I'm not sure the market is giving credit, but again, most of Tesla's valuation isn't about how many cars they ship. It's more about autonomy and robotics. But I just find there's never a conversation of they're vacating this space and the leader's going to get a bunch of volume as a result. That's never the conversation. It's how do I tear down Tesla while I'm exiting EV and Ford? And how do I tear down Cybertruck?
So there's breaking news right now. They just fired Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford, and the new CEO is Jeff Lutz. and they wiped out the board. They wiped out the board members, and the new board members is Alexander Merz and Larry Goldberg. So Jeff, you are the new CEO of Ford. What are you doing, dude?
See?
We're losing
I knew I had to change.
$2.5-3 billion per year, chasing this EV dream. We've lost $19.5 billion already. Customers are not buying our Ford F-150 to the numbers we want. We're not getting the margins. What are you going to do?
And don't forget, you've got Wonder Woman to help you.
Look at that.
I mean, I don't have glasses that can compare.
That looks great.
Yeah. But
wow,
I think where
look at that hair. Sorry, I'm distracted, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Herbert, do you want to answer the question, or do you want to just be distracted and
go?
Actually, I think it's
you're annoying, Jeff.
Yeah,
he's a CEO.
That's par for the course. I mean, Herbert, come on. No, I think Ford needs the vision. What's the vision for Ford? Is it making dual powertrain cars and getting back to? I mean, the U.S. is at 15 million units of sales. It's down 25% from its peak over the last couple of, like, people are buying less cars in the US and they're blocking themselves out of where people are going internationally, which is more of the EV. So I don't understand. The first thing I would do is, like, what's our vision? What does success look like, and start there. And I would get on board with a real autonomy program. Either we're going to create it organically, and we're going to start from with all the available information that's out there today, and start from a really good starting point of vision only and leveraging what Tesla's done, or we're going to partner with them. And finally, I think Ford needs to, again, figure out what they want to be when they grow up. I saw a BES battery storage system announcement. So again, I just, since the Ford F-150, I haven't seen them introduce a successful product since then. And I'd be interested to understand, what the first thing would be is, what's our vision, what's our mission, how we get there.
And then board members.
Yeah, well, I want to add that you really would need to be a Wonder Woman to get that ship out of where it is. You remember about a year ago, I did a special on Skunkworks,
right?
The entity they'd set up. I mean, they had people they recruited from Tesla and from other EV makers. Remember, we went all into details. Maybe you want to link that that video tomorrow when you publish this. But it became then very clear their objective was a lower cost EV truck. Right, that was the mission. It wasn't EVs that are comparable to any of the products of Tesla, and I don't think that was the goal. So I wonder what happens to all these people, because they were hired at good salaries, very competent people, and if they couldn't make it, if that decision had to be made, I would really wonder. So I think as a board member, I would recommend to them to get these people back and to make those people as close to the executive team as you can.
Yeah. So what happened was Ford said, I'm going to create a Skunkworks project. They invested heavily. They separated this group away, even though apparently Jim Farley couldn't even open the doors to see what they were doing. That was the right thing to do. And then you did a whole show on that to explain exactly what they were doing. And I'm guessing at this point that that's gone, because they've got rid of the EV division, basically, and that was part of it.
They got rid of Farley, who was the architect of that. Listen, if I were a board member, I would be...
Wait, Jay, Larry, I was joking. They didn't get rid of Farley yet. Yeah.
If I were a board member, Farley would be gone, and I would be putting the company up for sale in parts, in component parts.
Yes, they're tough.
There's no future. I mean, it's a family business, but there's no future for it. There's no future. I mean, they have one product, a truck.
No.
The Ford 150 truck. That's the only product that I believe they're making real money on.
Correct.
I think they're losing money on every other product,
including
one
Europe.
product. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Europe's gone.
Europe, China.
China was what was their marginal profit. I mean, I showed that 3 years ago. I showed that they are out of business. There's a huge parts business to be had. They could sell that off. There's a huge, the Ford truck business. They could if they pared everything down to a Ford truck business, they'd make more money than they're making right now. And that's what they should give the family back and just close it down. I mean, they are a company without a mission. Literally, they're a company without a mission. They're a family-owned company, so that's how they survived, the recession, the Great Recession, the global financial crisis. But man, have they failed the last 10 or 15 years. And they had, they had PR people who were posting on X. I wonder whatever happened to, what was his name? Levine, right? I mean, the guy was just
attacking Tesla people, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that if Farley's gone and I'm the board member, I would say, guys, pack it in. Let's save for the family what we can save for it. We've got a great parts business. We've got a great truck business. Let's sell off whatever we can get for the rest. Let's sell that off. And, the dealer network, talk about antediluvian. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, it's very heavy sledding. And for all the technology guys that they bought and promised, this great future, it's the same thing as Volkswagen did. And they hired 10,000 software people and they put them into a building in Germany. And, these guys had nothing to do. They had nothing to do. I mean,
that's exactly what I was going to say. What you're telling us here, which I think is the perfect analysis, is what is happening at the moment in Germany. I mean, Mercedes has decided they're going to go into their little niche upper scale market. Porsche, the family of Porsche, got out as much as they could so far. Volkswagen is now, and has been for a while, owned by the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. So actually, they're pushing it down to the taxpayer, right? The taxpayers are owner of a large part of Volkswagen now and have to carry the bad burden of what is happening. Remember when they pushed out Pierre, what was his name? Pirch. Yeah. So it just feels like it's a story in remaking that we saw at other OEMs before, and we will see others. I was actually very surprised this morning to read that Dan Ives upped the price target for GM. I mean, if you listen to Dan Ives, they have solved the logistics problems. They have sold everything. So fair enough. I would not invest a penny into any of these OEMs, not a penny.
Well, they're all stretched to single digit PEs, maybe low double digit PEs. They're buyback machines. I mean, currently they are, but yeah, I think Larry is kind of dealing out probably the appropriate medicine. I don't think any of us here have an issue. Like Jim Farley seems like a great guy. They hired a lot of very competent people from Tesla that were successful or are pretty sharp people in their own domain. I honestly think there's a board/leadership issue here. And this is, well, you have to look at your PE. You have to look at why isn't the market thinking that you're worth more, and what are you giving them to think that you should be worth more in terms of a multi-year roadmap of where Ford is going to be? It's transportation's moving to automation, autonomy, and introducing AI into the vehicle, and they're essentially nowhere on this. And then you look at the challenge of just building hardware, and to their, not to their fault. I mean, they set up a USMCA supply chain. The president came in and basically has obliterated most of that. Some of it he's pulled back on, but Ford can't compete globally. They don't have a product design, an ability to manufacture product where they could economically compete globally. And that's what we need. We need American companies that can do that. So there must be some assets here that are of value. I'm sure there are. And like I said, there are probably a lot of really good people. So this is nothing against Ford or its people, but you have to make business decisions at the appropriate time.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed of the announcement because you can't get to autonomy unless you have electric vehicles. I think there's a business model, so you can go and map that out. Yes, technically,
That's debatable.
Yeah, technically you can put autonomy into hybrids. Yeah, that's done. That can be done. But then could you actually have the business model to support that? Now, what I was been saying was that if anything, Ford, because they're owned by a family, they want to maintain their legacy. Imagine you've had this legacy of being the Ford, right? My God, Henry Ford invented this. I mean, he invented the whole scale of automobiles. To just lose that, and so they would most likely be okay with partnering with Tesla to get the FSD. But if they are dropping EVs now, how's that going to happen anymore?
Yeah, the situation at Ford, and for that matter GM, is really bad because they're not car manufacturers; they're assemblers. They manufacture, I think, engines, but not a lot more. And I think that the whole structure of the auto industry today is going to have to change. They're going to have to figure out new manufacturing methods, just as Tesla have for the Robotaxi. I think for the Cybercab, I think they're going to have to rethink, what they're delivering to the customer. I mean, once Tesla starts delivering, full auto FSD, unsupervised FSD, I don't know how I don't know what they deliver to their customers. So yeah, nobody's looking at the long view here. Everybody's looking to see what they can save in the next, couple of years.
And with the hope that the consumer, and there's always going to be a 25-30% part of the consumer is becoming a very late adopter, right? With the hope that these people just cling to their trucks and cling to their old style cars and don't want to change.
Yeah, but the price difference between the Chinese cars and the cars that these guys manufacture are going to become so incredible that the political pressure to allow the Chinese into the country are going to rise. I mean, how can you justify selling a car for $45,000 when the same car sells in China for $25,000? I mean, think about it.
Let's talk 2026 valuation. We have somebody like a Dan Ives, obviously a Tesla bull, saying that he sees Tesla, which is currently today a $1.5 trillion company, possibly becoming $2 trillion. Bull case, $3 trillion. Others are saying, well, the fundamentals won't be there because the actual revenue earnings coming in from a Robotaxi rollout won't show up until 2027. Really, you should expect the stock to be kind of flat. Don't necessarily jump up. Let's go down the round table here. What's your expectation, Alexandra, on 2026 valuation for Tesla?
I don't do 1 year valuations. I'm surprised you're asking me that question over and over and over again. Every year it comes up. But it's okay. You can try. For me, this is 2030, 2035, and I'm still on a $3,000 to $5,000 stock price by then. So I have no idea whether this will already materialize in part next year or not, and it does not matter. It's not how I see the stock. I feel I own this company. This company is doing exactly what I want them to do. They are prudent. Sometimes it will take a bit longer. Sometimes it's actually quicker. Like this year, for once they should have waited 3 weeks, and no, they did not. But anyway, so in all those things, stock price in a couple of months or stock price at the end of next year is not something how I reason.
Okay. Jeff?
Herbert,
Same thing? Same answer?
No. I would say, the only thing I would say is that the markets are not going to wait for everything to be in the balance sheet. They're going to start doing some interpolation ahead. And that's why we're sitting at a 200 plus PE right now, is they are doing that. So the question is what does Tesla show us over the next quarter, 2 quarters that would better inform what we know right now? Do they show us something on Optimus V3 in terms of what its physical capability is and its readiness to enter a manufacturing environment? On Cybercab, do they give us a little bit more indication of what the bottom looks like, they think, in terms of COGS and the rollout of Robotaxi throughout the year? I think there's a couple of anchors the market could hang their hats on. Because the other thing is, you're not going to see a lot of competition on those attributes in the United States. I think they're really, one of the things I'm noticing about Tesla is that they are starting to separate even more dramatically from the in terms of time, in terms of the people who are said to be competing with them. And again, this isn't a knock on Rivian. I think they're heading in the right direction, but there's comparisons being posted about their chip. They're doing their own chip. They're doing the development. This is fine. But then somebody tried to compare it to an AI4 part. I'm like, well, when is that chip going to when is it taping out, and when is it getting to scale in a Rivian? Oh, it's going to be in basically 2027. I said, well, you have to compare yourself to an AI5. An AI5 is going to be much more capable, but that's not even it. To consumers, it's what's the value per dollar that part brings. So just, there's this fallacy of companies, people, investors, commentators comparing a new company or something, new PowerPoint that was revealed, to something that Tesla not only unveiled years ago, but put into production years ago. And Tesla's already on to the next thing. So that's why it's really hard to evaluate this company. And this is why so many people struggle with looking at trailing metrics, looking at current metrics. This is why a lot of people struggle with it. It's going to be a very hard thing to nail down, but look for 2 or 3 key anchors in 2026. The market, I believe, will get ahead.
Perfect. Great answer. You don't have to give me a valuation, but that's exactly the analysis. Thank you.
Wait, so better answer than Alexandra? Is that what
Alexandra
you're saying?
gave me a good number. No, absolutely. I like her too.
Wait. Okay, so now who's better?
Alexandra's best. Always. No,
What are you
you gave me a
about?
number, but you also appropriately say it's 3 to 5 years, which is great. It's like, yeah, I'm with you. I'm the same thing, by the way. I'd answer the same way you do. I don't give 1 year.
It's always 3 to 5 years.
Jeff,
Oh,
We're going to be on here next year and
won.
be talking about 3 to 5
I
years.
won.
You won.
okay.
Wonderful.
And then
Of course you won.
Larry, how do you want to take that question?
I'm scared to open my mouth here. I mean,
2026 valuation.
what they said.
Okay. Jeff, you said that, there's a big separation between what Tesla's doing and others, but let's talk Robotaxi wars, right? Everybody currently today, I think rightly so, calls Waymo the leader because they have the most cars, 3,000. They have the most revenue, 350 million. They're in 10 cities. They just announced, and I did a show with Larry on this, a raise of $15 billion to value them at $100 billion.
They announced it? Or is that a rumor?
I'm sorry. No. It was a rumor report. Yeah, I'm sorry. You were correct. Okay. It was just a rumor report. Okay. So, they're about to buy cars. They're about to do something. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Larry, do you want to address that? Because you did talk to us about that to me earlier.
Well, I'd like to actually quote, I did talk to you about it earlier, but I didn't quote this to you earlier, but I'd like to quote what New Street Research says, and they actually showed the front cover of their report today, and they offered, by the way, go and look it up. It's a post by Pierre Ferragu on X, and he threatens to make this public and publish it if he gets 5,000 likes and 1,000 or 3,000 reposts. Or I'm not sure, but it's a really, really comprehensive report. It's called Robotaxi Part 2, The Dawn of Tesla. And he says, Part 1 showed why Waymo, despite successful rollouts, isn't taking over the markets it enters and plateau instead between a 15 and 20% share of the service areas they address. It faces 2 structural constraints, high unit cost and diminishing capital returns. The second part, he says, explores how Tesla comes into play and how the competitive dynamics between Waymo, Uber, and Tesla and others may evolve by the end of the decade. And he says, and I'll skip ahead, the dawn of robotaxi has come about in line with the timeline we called for about a decade ago. And 2026 may be the year the market structures mostly as a dawn for Tesla. So we're going to see 2026, these are my words now, not Pierre's. We are going to see 2026 as a year of revelation, a reveal of each of Tesla's components of this robotaxi play. And I, as I've been saying on this channel and many others, I believe that the huge differentiation is going to be infrastructure. Waymo's every step of expansion that Waymo has to take has to be accompanied by all kinds of deals they have to make for infrastructure or organization structures they have to make. None of that applies to Tesla. Tesla has the infrastructure. It has been building this infrastructure for 20 years now. This infrastructure is comprehensive. It involves all kinds of support levels up to the sales level, up to the commercial level, and down to the technical and the logistical level. So I think we're going to see an extraordinarily rapid rollout. I think we're going to see Florida soon. You know, they announced the insurance product in Florida. There's only one reason they announced an insurance product in Florida. The Robotaxi is coming to Florida.
You're right.
Yeah. And so we're going to see this rollout. You know, we're going to see Virginia. We're going to see this rollout very, very rapid. It's going to be, you know, slowly, one little city at a time, one step at a time, one stage of independent driving at a time, and then all of a sudden it's going to be very dramatic. Now, when that turn takes place, when the move from, you know, experiment, the, you know, safety, protection, you know, determining whether they've got the right org structure, when that takes place, I don't know, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen sometime in 2026. And after that happens, Katie, bar the door. It's going to be very, very dramatic. And it's not going to be like, you know, Waymo measured in the thousands or even the hundreds. It's going to be measured in the tens of thousands and maybe the hundreds of thousands.
I got two questions. Who wants to answer this? One is, what's the likelihood that Waymo, why are they raising $15 billion? Waymo would license their technology to other cars, other automakers. Is that possible? Oh, he's laughing already. The other one is, what's the likelihood that Waymo is raising money so they can buy Rivian or buy other automakers?
Waymo buying Rivian is one of the nightmare scenarios. I mean, that's the absolute nightmare scenario. Can they use Saudi cash to dramatic? I mean, it's just a joke. I mean, seriously.
Well, it's a joke. I agree with you, but it could be a reason why they raise money. And I mean, it's not as if Google wants to get out. Actually, Alphabet is going to be the main lead in these 15 billion. So it's not, you know, because my first thought was like, okay, they're seeing it written on the horizon. They're starting to get their money out. And because Robotaxi is now such a topic, I'm sure you will find investors that want to throw money into it, right? Because they just don't want to have Tesla and feel like Waymo is a safe bet with Google behind it. I think it is today for them relatively more easy to raise money than in 6 months. So that is probably the reason why they rather have it now. Now, they will need money. I don't even think 15 billion is going to be enough for, if they really want to go worldwide and make it happen. Is it enough to purchase a car maker? I mean, it depends. I mean, Nissan you can probably get for $1 now. You know, if your only goal is to get somebody who has a production line, you can find, and you will get it cheaper in a couple of months.
Why buy Lucid when the Lucid car costs more than the car they're buying from Zeekr? I mean,
it was Rivian, no? It was Rivian and not Lucid.
Sorry, why would sorry, yeah, what? And same question. Same question. They can buy the car from Zeekr for less than they would pay Rivian.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to buy
I'm
one, they will
talking
find
buying
one.
Rivian automaker. Like she's talking about buying Nissan as it's going bankrupt. Makes sense, actually.
Guys,
We can be board members on all of them, Larry. We're going to be very busy.
What, Larry? What? What's wrong? Why is this not? You don't see this as a path?
I mean,
Let him
Waymo
have
would
it,
do?
Larry.
Yeah. If you buy a legacy automaker today, all you're doing is strapping yourself with gigantic baggage that you're going to have to carry for a long time. If you buy Rivian, you're buying a company that is losing more money than any company in history's ever lost.
But Larry, Waymo's losing money today, but what is their strategy if they are not going to become an automaker? Are you thinking that they're just licensing their technology? And that's the other question.
Why would they become an automaker? It's going to cost them more to make a car than if they could just simply buy it from a Chinese company. Of course, I'm not sure how they get the car into the country. That's another matter.
Oh, so they don't have to buy an automaker. They just need to buy the cars and then upfit it, and then that's good to go. That's their strategy.
No, they need to close their business down because they've got no business model.
Okay. they're okay.
I mean, what's the business model of when your car is going to cost you $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, or even $45,000? How do you compete against a car that's going to cost $25,000, $30,000? I mean, how do you compete? Look, they're obviously doing some business right now. They're losing a boatload of money. I wanted to use a vulgar term, but I won't. They're losing a boatload of money. The only way to go is to expand so that they can lose more money. I mean, I don't know, what is the out here? They don't have, in a game of poker, you count your number of outs. And you check against the other guy's outs and you estimate the other guy's outs. They have no outs. Who are they kidding? They're going to take outside shareholder money, and what's that going to help? If they take in what are they going to do with the $15 billion they're going to raise, or whatever, 25?
Let me ask a couple of questions. So currently, if I'm not mistaken, most of the Waymos drive those Jaguar E-Pace, right? So electric cars or hybrid cars. I-Pace, okay. Who owns Jaguar today? Is that still a UK company, or is this Chinese already?
No, it's a Chinese company. Chinese company.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay, so
that was Indian. No? Tata? It's not Tata?
Well, whoever it is. It's not
maybe you're right.
So it's not a US company, and Waymo started in the US. And so they did not find a US car maker, including Lucid and including Rivian, that they wanted to use for their cars, right? So doesn't that ring a bell? Why would you now suddenly, to answer your second question, consider purchasing Rivian if you have never put your Waymo gear on a Rivian and done it, right? And why would Rivian be interested? Because that's the other news of the week, right? Rivian pretending that they have in 2 years. Is it in 2 years, Jeff? I didn't even look into it much. In 2 years, they will have full self-drive. Next year, well, even better. We all believe it, right? So why would Rivian be interested to put this gear on their cars when they are working on their own solutions that are so imminent?
Well,
if we're going back to why is Herbert asking this question? Is that what we're going back to?
Yeah,
exactly.
Great question, guys.
But look, if anybody's going to buy Rivian, it is Volkswagen. Volkswagen have taken this losing game of software that they try to stand up, and they've put it into Rivian's hands. So if there's an out for Rivian, it's Volkswagen buys them. If there's an out for Volkswagen, God alone knows what it is, because it would take the Almighty himself to figure it out, or herself.
The question is, what is Waymo's strategy? Could they license it to other people, or could they buy an automaker or buy cars? By the way, Jaguar is owned by Tata, but also the maker of that is actually Magna. Magna makes the Jaguars on behalf of Jaguar, Tata. And
Where?
then they
In which
also,
country?
in the US,
In
I think
Britain. No, Britain. They made
Okay.
in
they
Britain.
they make it, and then the same Magna is the one that upfits it in the US.
In a
That's
different,
why,
yeah, they outfit it in a different factory.
yeah.
Yeah.
They take
Okay.
the basic Jaguar, they bring it to the US, and they outfit it in a different factory,
but-
and they've got the capacity to do 2,500 a year.
And that's it. But they're moving away from that
you got your
because
2,500
Jaguar's done.
wings.
But Jaguar's done. They're done. They're not making this car anymore. So they're partnering with Zeekr and Hyundai.
Okay,
So
so no
they-
US or no.
Well, Hyundai are US based. They could make it here. Hyundai could make the car.
US based factories.
Yeah, but I mean no OEM. But we no traditional European or American OEM.
No, it'll be a Japanese or a
Korean.
Korean it won't be a Chinese because I just cannot see how the US would allow a Chinese product into the country. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I think, Larry, if you go back to your original point you were bringing up around Tesla's advantage with infrastructure, Tesla's got two key advantages. One is their physical infrastructure of charging, of service, and all that capability, and quite frankly, their ability to automate all that in software and through robotics. And this exists all over the world. So in FSD rollout in Korea, if they decide to go to Robotaxi rollout in Korea, I mean, they're selling cars in Korea. They have an ability to service. They have ability for parts distribution. All that stuff needs to be set up. That's all the plumbing that happens in the background. That takes investment dollars. That takes people. That takes time. It's not rocket science, but it's something, well, the way that Tesla has implemented it may be, going in that direction in terms of if you compare your service experience today to your service experience 5 years ago, I mean, I'm walking in and within 30 seconds, I have a car matched up to in my phone for service, and I could drive off with a loaner within 30 seconds. So Tesla is continuing to integrate in this whole innovate in this whole infrastructure space. They're going to win on that alone. But then now you introduce $25,000 car at scale, the ability to produce it everywhere in the world in all the different major economic zones that are all tariffing each other now. Remember, Europe is not super happy about all the China imports. We're not happy about China. China, who knows what can happen in China, but if you're building in China, you're kind of okay. And Tesla's set up in all these economic zones. So the advantages are measured in years, and they're measured in many billions of dollars.
There's a very important question to be asked here. Which auto companies manufacture precisely the same vehicle in the United States, in Europe, and in China? Name me more than one.
There is none because everybody else does it cheaper in China. It's only Tesla. It's only Tesla.
So, once the Cybercab once that production line gets keyed in, adding it to China, adding it to Germany, I mean, the opportunities for Tesla are just extraordinary here. And I just don't see the competition. And people are talking about Waymo. I don't see how Waymo... Look, Waymo is doing one thing very well, and that it is conditioning the market. It's really, I mean, they started experimenting with this stuff 10 years ahead of Tesla. They've arrived at a product 2 to 3 years ahead of Tesla, maybe 3 years ahead of Tesla. But that product that they have is not saleable. Right now, it's struggling to compete with, ICE vehicles driven by a human being. It's struggling to compete. It's getting 20% of the market.
There's a very a good example of what happened with Google. And it's repeating itself. History is repeating itself. So Google bought Boston Dynamics. Boston Dynamics was the leader in robotics for years. They bought them 2013. And everybody said, that's it, they're done, they're going to succeed. They won the game. And then they sold Boston Dynamics in 2017. Why? Larry Page demanded and asked the Boston Dynamics team, how can you make this car, this robot, how can you make it so that it's actually, economically feasible? Because it was costing them like, I don't know what the number is, let's say millions, multi-millions per bot. And it was never designed to be sold as a consumer. It was more of a research thing. People assume that you see this bot doing these parkour things, you think, oh my God, they won it, they've done it, I'm going to make billions of them, they're going to sell it. No, it was never designed for that.
I would vary that. I think you're making a statement, Herbert, which isn't exactly right. They were actually focused on building bots for industrial purpose, and they had industrial salespeople selling those bots.
Yeah. I
did the business study.
I heard the CEO of Boston Dynamics explain it himself.
What
He
year?
said that this
What
bot,
year?
recent, like 2 years ago, this guy said
You're talking
that
about you're talking about
Boston
the
Dynamics
two-legged,
CEO,
the humanoid
one.
bot, but
the big dog, yeah.
the humanoid bot. But Boston Dynamics were making bots.
They have three different
industrial
bots. Yeah, they have the three different bots. They have one that is on wheels that go to factories, and they pivoted to that. But the humanoid bot was never designed to go to market.
That is exactly correct. But that wasn't their principal business, and they were trying to break into industrial robots. And frankly, they never made anything better than like a $30 million loss.
Yeah.
Never made anything better.
So Google was investing in this thing, realizes this thing it's not ever going to become profitable as a business. Same thing seems to be happening now. That's what I was trying to say. And yet,
the best product was the dog.
Yeah.
That's the product that they sold.
Well, I disagree. I disagree, Herbert, because you didn't listen to what I said earlier. Google is not selling their shares. Google is actually the lead investor in this new tranche. So they're actually increasing their part. They're really just increasing the capital they're getting into Waymo. So it's not yet about Google getting out of it.
No, I know that. That's why I was asking the question, what is Waymo's strategy? Are they going to license? Do they think they're going to license it, or are they going to start building cars
themselves? Didn't you just said it's the same strategy that Google wants to get out of it?
Not necessarily. I just meant to say that they are supporting a business that is actually not, there's no business model to it yet. Yeah. They need to figure out the path through. And that one they gave up on because they couldn't figure out. This one, are they licensing it? And some people say that that's just not going to be possible.
I mean, I actually expect there to be, at one point, and it may not be 2026 yet, but there will be the obligation of any new car to have FSD.
Yeah.
I think there will be legislation in that sense. And then what? And there will be people that will really not like to work with Tesla, because that's just it. And I think the way Comma and the way Waymo are set up, people probably imagine they can add this on, right? They can have just, an additional supplier. While with Tesla, we all know that's not how it's working. You really have to change how you build a car. So remember Tuesday in the Space, I tried to nail with Omar whether you can do FSD on a gas car, and he said yes.
Why not?
Tesla, exactly. So you can, and I don't think Tesla would ever sell this to gas cars. I think that's just not an option.
Well, I mean, if they license it, they license it. I think it makes it a lot more complicated, but it can be done relatively straightforward, even though it is not as simple as with the electric car. But
I do believe it's against the mission. I just don't think that Elon and Tesla would support anything except if it's for safety and you have to.
It may be against the mission in terms of
sustainability,
the climate, but it's not against the mission in terms of safety. So sure. I think safety wins in that case.
That's a good point. Okay, so we talked about legacy auto. Mm-hmm.
I was just going to close, Herbert. This conversation is the same conversation that we had about EVs and competition for the last 10 years. Yeah. And very few analysts had the critical thinking of it's not only because you have a PowerPoint or a prototype or something to show that you are a quote unquote killer. You actually need to be able to create the product and create the infrastructure behind it, create the supply chain, the vertical integration, all these intangible things that are in the background that allow Tesla to produce an EV profitably. Now we have the benefit of actual history, like time has passed, and we realize that all of those promises, all of those claims from all these other automakers never came to fruition. And it feels like we're running that same thing again of kind of low quality analysis of like, look, they have a robotaxi on the road. That means like everybody else has figured this out. When in fact is you have to put the existence of the product and the existence of the business model together. And you have to modulate those two together, and they have to work once modulated. If they don't, both of them go to zero and you have nothing. And that subtle concept is just lost upon many people. But that, I think we're just replaying the same movie over again with autonomy and robotaxis.
Absolutely. And guys, I have to love and leave you. I'm afraid I have a commitment at 6 o'clock. So thanks very much. Enjoyed.
Good to see you, Larry.
Good to see you all. Bye, guys.
Jeff, then the question for you then is, okay, if these legacy auto are trying to, these guys are trying to figure out what to do, right? They don't want to partner with Tesla. They can't partner with Tesla. Is there a chance that Chinese autonomy companies could license it to a German or United States? Is there any way? I mean, look, China allowed Tesla to go and use their FSD in China, and they found ways to kind of border the data, follow the rules. Is that even a possibility to think about?
Less likely. I don't want to say never on anything, but there's a problem with tech that has the ability to communicate with a network that has optical capability, that has memory. And there's just a fundamental problem with that. And we're trying to be allies, but we're adversaries, honestly, between countries. So it's going to be difficult. You can legislate it. I think China does a pretty good job of doing that domestically, and you can legislate it. But I think in the US, I think it's just going to be more difficult. And quite frankly, there's not a Chinese company that has made a global, ubiquitous, just take it out of the box and plug it in autonomy solution. The closest things to that are actually Tesla and FSD. And once AI's solution is proven, maybe that, and then Wave's solution in UK, those three have the potential to be a development kit that could be designed into any vehicle and work. Like those are the three horses. The other things that are out there are more tailor-made to the product, and it's them trying to get autonomy working on their product and platform. It's not them making something that is necessarily economically or technically scalable.
Okay, thank you. Quick fire questions, guys. Got one here for you. What's the next city that Tesla will roll out Robotaxi?
Phoenix.
Yeah, very likely.
More than Nevada or the Florida?
Vegas. I mean, Vegas would be good. I don't know where we're with the tunnels, but that would be good. Does it matter? Is it one of your questions that don't matter?
It matters.
Whoa.
No, I mean, it's just for fun. It's for fun. It's for fun. But I think that the reason why, if you think about it, okay, Dallas makes the most sense. But I'm sure Tesla will want to say, hey, we're doing yet another state as well. So maybe you're right. That's going to be Nevada, Las Vegas, or Florida, right?
Oh, that's right. That's a good point. I mean, it could be Houston, could be Dallas, could be San Antonio. I think there's all been cars spotted in all those areas. But yeah. And in Florida, I mean, I love the Ron DeSantis Tesla advertisements around trucks, insurance. True. Like, it's been great.
Yeah, Ron DeSantis supporting Tesla. Other investments? Are you making some moves there, Alexandra? Do you want to share what you're doing?
What I'm doing? Oh, you mean other stock than Tesla? Yes. So I invested a small amount, about 1% of my financial assets, this morning into Guts. Guts is a company, Guts is the ticker of a company that is in the biotech field and develops a machine called Revita that will be doing in a 1-hour outpatient situation the cleaning of the inner parts of the gut, hence the ticker Guts. They have gone through different stages of testing and are waiting now for the FDA approval. This is a highly speculative investment. They IPO'd a year and a half ago at 15. The stock went down below $1 this summer. So from 15 down to below $1, is now back up in the 220 to 30 range. I invested now. I haven't heard about them for a long time. I heard recently about them. And then yesterday I saw a video of the CEO on one of those YouTube channels linked to GLP-1. And you all know I lost my weight with GLP-1. And I'm now at the situation where I'm at my dream weight and I continue taking the shot every week and would hope to come off it. And this could be one of those solutions where you do this gut cleaning. I'm sure this is not the right word, for you to then be in a state where you don't need medication anymore. So I like the whole concept and idea of it. I think they are far enough into the testing that I want to take the plunge and take a risk, but it is infinitely small. I just, for transparency, wanted to make sure everybody knows I'm now only a 99% Tesla investor. And this is certainly much more of a gamble than my Tesla investments, because this can go to zero or this can skyrocket if it goes through and testing is good and FDA approves it and insurance approves it. If Medicare approves this is going to be jackpot for them. Their business model is to sell the machine to clinics. This is about a $500,000 machine. And then the catheters that the patients need every time there's a new patient using that are about $3,000 for each patient. And so that would, be their model, which is a very lucrative model. And I do believe that people at the end of GLP-1 will look for solutions that are not medicated anymore. And this one seems to me the most promising one.
Yeah, interesting. Cool. Then Jeff, do you have other investments that you want to thought about?
I mean, I don't. First off, I thought the information that Alexandra shared was very useful, very beneficial for people, both on a practical level and if they want to look at the investment as well. And I know she's not giving out investment advice, nor am I. It's really hard because you don't know people's positions. But I mean, I just want to comment generally that this whole concept of AI being a bubble, if it is a bubble, it's just starting to inflate. If it was a baseball game, we're still in the warm-ups. And there's very logical reasons, both looking upward in the supply chain and what's happening, looking at the order backlog for an NVIDIA, TSMC, ASML, and looking what's happening in terms of fab build out, and then looking downstream in terms of AI. We just have chatbots and we have self-driving Teslas, and there's so much more to do. So, I mean, what I think is interesting to me is, how does this AI adjacent build out happen? Who are the next winners? We haven't clearly solved power. We have these far out bets of people betting on nuclear. We saw even a potential merger, I guess, of DJT and a nuclear fusion company today. You have all these kind of far out things happening, but I think there's a near term build out that's happening over the next year or 2 years. And a lot of AI adjacent names are still, they're not all going to work, but the companies that have unique technology and have a manufacturing scale are going to work. So right now there's a horrible sentiment cloud, I think, just over the AI trade. And what I find interesting is Tesla is just, is hitting escape velocity and almost removing itself from that. It's almost like, is this an AI? It is an AI play, but it's a physical real world AI play. So I do think there's interesting things out there, but I tell people too that the market is there's a definite sentiment cloud that just needs to be cleared. And I think once that's cleared, this will continue for a bit, and just people need to figure out what works for them over a time horizon. And just we haven't solved anything fundamentally medically with AI yet. I mean, there's some stuff that's happening, but we haven't seen the big disease cure. We haven't seen this huge impact in the education community. We know kids are using LLMs, but we haven't seen the education of our children fundamentally change. The roads have not fundamentally changed yet, except for Tesla. So there's just so much more to do, and it's nowhere in manufacturing. So there's just so much more to do. So when you hear this bubble talk and you don't actually hear any detail or data behind it, or what do you mean? Or did you look upstream in the supply chain? Did you look down in applications and what hasn't been disrupted? It's a very uninformed conversation. But if you talk to people that are inside of this, that are actually working on it, whether it's adjacent or direct, you will find that they are working harder than they may have never ever did in their career.
I completely agree. And I find it actually funny that the ones telling us that this is all over are the ones clinging to the old way of doing their jobs, right? If you ask them, they're all these old style analysts who love it the way it is because they get paid much too much for the value they provide, doing it the old way. The finance sector has not been officially disrupted. Yet I know it from very good source that there are 50, if not 100, of initiatives and ideas how to disrupt it, which it should, because it is much too expensive the way it is run at the moment. And so I completely agree with Jeff. Yes, you have the feeling that this first wave of chatbots and ChatGPT and now FSD sort of has been understood, and still, I mean, we're still far away from being understood as FSD. But everything, it's not about a budget, it's about coding. It's about how quickly you can code now to solve issues. How few resources you need to dramatically improve anything, any sector, any service sector, and in the end, also any production sector. And so, again, listen who is talking to you. Listen who is clinging to their way of doing their jobs and making money at the moment, and then ask yourself, is that really the source I want to consider? Or are there people in the back now coding currently for better solutions? And when they are coming to prime time, which will be much quicker than anybody thinks, it's going to be the next wave. And there will be another one, depending on which sector.
And one more thing to add to what Alexandra was saying. Number one, know what you own. Like, not all these things are going to work. Many of them won't. Like, if you're a company with a bad business, bad proposition, bad leadership, you can blow yourself up here pretty quickly. And that is going to happen to some. But to me, Herbert and Alexandra, what's interesting is just this figurative split screen. On one side of the screen, you have Congress represented by Bernie Sanders asking for a pause in AI advancement. And on the other side of the split screen, you have these 5 to 10 tech CEOs, maybe some of the most brilliant capital allocators in history, some of them. And that split screen, you can tell the CEOs to go to the back and just put the XAI team, the Memphis XAI team in front, and they're working around the clock and they're trying to bring up this supercomputer in record time. And then you've got Congress saying, hey, we need time to write regulations for AI. And nobody's saying that AI shouldn't have regulation. In fact, Elon is on the record saying there probably need to be some very smart regulation. I'm not going to get your channel brought down, but effing do your job. If these guys can work and gals can work 24/7, trying to bring this data center up, trying to get us to super intelligence, trying to compete with China and not get curb stomped by them, maybe you can not be going on holiday tomorrow and keep everybody in Congress over the holiday and come up with this smart legislation around AI. I'm sure several of the CEOs would come and visit you and share their thoughts on what these regulations should be. But don't just sit back and record a video and pop it on social media saying, I think we should just pause everything because it's too dangerous. And you're not putting in the hours to try to figure out what that legislation should be and working at the equivalent speed of the people that are trying to do this stuff. So we have disease discovery. We're in massive competition with China and the rest of the world. We cannot slow down for it. We have to accelerate.
Change is happening fast, and I think the three of us are okay with change, and we have to adapt to it. Are you guys taking a vacation next week, Christmas? Anything you can share a little bit? I'm going to, going away, visiting my family.
So we
What do you
don't
guys-
have a space nor a CyberBulls next week, correct?
No space for sure. And then if we want to, we could do a CyberBulls just for fun, like drinking.
Like last year.
And Christmas
Remember last
Day.
year? Last year we told stories about how we started and all that. That was fun. Just
Yeah,
having a party. We could do that maybe, but we'll see. We'll play that by ear.
so you're traveling?
I am, yeah. And then going to LA and just having fun with my family. Yeah, it's gonna be sunny.
It is.
But I'll still be doing shows.
No.
Yeah.
Next week, actually, in California, it's going to be rainy the whole
Is
week.
that right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, are you doing anything? Your family coming too?
I'm staying in Santa Barbara, and we have the kids here. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
And what
be
do you
local.
do? Yeah. Do you have where's your tree?
My tree?
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Thank you.
Yeah, have you been seeing the pictures, Herbert, online? There's been all
I've-
kinds of wardrobe shots and
I've seen the wardrobe shots.
different angles.
Okay. See, when I see those shots, I'm looking at her. I'm not looking at the tree in the background.
Herbert.
Okay, that's great. And then you, Jeff, what are you doing?
Oh,
You
be
host big
local.
parties, Jeff. Are you going to have another big party?
Hosting a big party. It's family and it's
Yeah.
good. I love the holidays. I love reconnecting with people and friends that come back into town too. So a couple of weeks are good. And it's a good time. Weather though, who knows what's going to be like here. But looking forward to it.
One day I'm going to get that Jeff invite to one of his big parties because I've not been invited yet, Alexandra.
Me neither.
We'll
I
have
have not been to
I
Chicago
mean,
for a
there's
long
there's
time.
a bar, Herbert. There's a bar, Herbert, that you gotta.
I remember that bar.
And,
Wait.
I remember that
Free bar?
I remember
Free?
that
What-
bar.
oh, not that bar, Herbert. We know. We know what
I
happens
see.
there.
The bar that when we were all together. Okay,
bar-
that
more of-
story
more of a-
stays.
Yeah.
Can I
Stays
put the
here.
glasses and the one and the thing at the same time? Let me see. I
There
can.
you go. Oh, look at
There
you.
you go. Total look. Total look.
Wait,
I mean, do I make an effort for the CyberBulls or do I not make an effort?
You do make an effort. Thank you. Well, next week we'll see what you wear. That's the
If I come,
fun
yeah.
party if you
Exactly.
come.
Yeah,
not the
but
same for the other year.
I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah.
Yeah.
You know, whatever you celebrate, if you do celebrate, it's a really important time with family and friends, and just kind of reflect, on the last year and what we've talked about with tech and everything, just how where were we a year ago, and where are we now? It's just interesting to
And
reflect. So,
Human connection is really
Yeah.
the thing that keeps us together. Otherwise, technology is
Does. And
changing the world.
it will have to develop even more. I think actually human connection and being, close to families and friends will become more and more important, and we may actually have
Yeah.
more and more time for that.
with your Wonder Woman glasses on, dark glasses on, and hat.
All
There
right.
we go. I'm trying my best.
See you
the show
guys. Thank you.
See ya.
I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.